5 on your side at 4. Focused on you.
It shocks me. It shocks me that something would happen like this to a 4-year-old because the parents should have been on guard.
Tonight, a mother is facing endangerment charges in the death of her child. Police say Christina Huntspon's 4-year-old daughter overdosed on drugs. Good evening. Thanks for being here at 4. I'm Kay Quinn. This happened in Jennings on Saturday evening. 5 on your side, Diamond Palmer is in studio now with new details in the case. Diamond?
Knowingly acted in a manner that created substantial risk to the child. Huntspun is facing first-degree charges for endangering the welfare of a child and death of a child. Court documents also say Huntspun admitted to having a severe drug addiction and using heroin in the home on Cosins Avenue the morning of the incident, which likely caused the death of her daughter. Sanaa was found unresponsive in her father's bed from an apparent drug overdose around 6:30 on Saturday evening. She was taken to the hospital, and an hour later, she was pronounced dead. Court documents also say Sanaa was born under the influence of controlled substances. The St. Louis Division of the Drug Enforcement Administration says heroin usage has been on the decline for years, but it's being mixed with fentanyl in capsules.
Heroin has been almost replaced completely by fentanyl, another opioid. And in this case, I'm almost certain that heroin alone is not the cause of the death. It's more than likely going to be a combination of heroin and fentanyl.
This evening, St. Louis County Police say it's still under investigation if the father was at home during the time of the incident. He did have custody of the child, and police did say their investigation revealed he did not display any signs of drug use.
All right, thank you, Diamond. We continue to follow the story of a teenager who was seriously hurt in a fight near Hazelwood East High School. Hours ago, the family of 16-year-old Kaylee Gain released a statement about her condition. They say she suffered a fractured skull and is still unconscious a little over a week after the fight. Gain's family hopes the community can come together to denounce teen violence. The girl says what she was seen fighting in the video is now in juvenile custody. The suspect's lawyer released a statement within the last hour saying his client was on the honor roll, played in the orchestra, and was on Hazelwood East's volleyball team, and that he believes the circumstances of the fight are not appropriate to talk about while Gain is in critical condition. There's a possible new piece of evidence in the search for a missing Mizzou student in Nashville. 22-year-old Riley Strain disappeared March 8th. Investigators have been combing through surveillance video looking for him. The new video comes from Nashville Metro Police. It shows a police officer talking with Strain just minutes after he left Luke Bryan's bar. The officer was responding to a car break-in on Gay Street. Over the weekend, Strain's bank card was found on that same street on an embankment near the Cumberland River. This is the area where Strain's cell phone last pinged. On Wednesday, the McDonald Bridge in Hazelwood will close. That'll affect nearly 15,000 drivers a day. The $3.4 million bridge replacement project was approved due to concerns about radioactive contamination from Coldwater Creek. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers will remove contaminated soil from the site. Then a new bridge will be built. That project is expected to take about 10 months. In the meantime, drivers are advised to use Banshee Road as a detour. Well, it is the last full day of winter, and it sure feels like it. But tomorrow, we officially begin spring. Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell here with the Weather First forecast.
You know, it's a little after 10 o'clock tomorrow night when we actually have our vernal equinox or the spring equinox, and it'll feel more like spring tomorrow than it does today. There's not a lot of spring out there, except in your step. If you've gone outside, you know how chilly it is. This morning down into the 20s across the area. At least we have a mostly sunny sky. There's a few very low flat top clouds out there, little flat cumulus clouds. That's about it. 26 this morning in Alton, 25 in Pacific and Wentzville. The coolest spots we saw were down into the upper teens, including around Eureka, 19 degrees. Hematite down to 16 this morning. There's a look from the Illinois side over in O'Fallon, Illinois. You can see it's pretty bright, but doggone it, it's chilly. Temperatures upper 30s, lower 40s right now. Plus there's a breeze across the area. We're on the back edge of that cloud cover, so Expect to see mainly clear skies overnight tonight. It's another cold night as we drop back into the 20s once again, probably a degree or two warmer than yesterday. Windy and warmer tomorrow, and there's little, if any, rain this week. We'll talk about the changes coming for the weekend in a few minutes, Kay.
All right, we'll see you then. Thank you, Scott. With the general election in full swing, President Biden's working to gain momentum by focusing on women's issues, while Mr. Trump handles backlash over comments during a recent rally. NBC's Alice Barr reports.
Sharp contrast today in the race for the White House as President Biden signs an executive order to expand research on women's health care and defends reproductive rights.
I promise you, we will restore Roe v. Wade again as the law of the land.
While former President Trump defends himself over several inflammatory comments at a weekend rally, most notably using the word bloodbath while talking about Chinese car manufacturers.
We're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole. That's going to be the least of it.
The former president on social media insisting he was simply referring to imports that are killing the auto industry. But the Biden campaign rejects that, releasing a new ad highlighting what they call a pattern of Mr. Trump calling for political violence. They're accusing him of wanting another January 6th. The former president again referred to those imprisoned for January 6 related crimes as hostages, even though the overwhelming majority have been convicted of crimes. Mr. Trump has said he would free them if reelected. Some fellow Republicans object.
I do not think it's appropriate. We're a nation of laws, and those folks were convicted. Many times they pled guilty.
Facing his own legal challenges, former President Trump's attorneys now say they've been unable to secure a bond for the $464 million civil fraud judgment against him over his company's business practices. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
In just a little over 12 hours, the polls open in Illinois. Tomorrow is primary day. You can cast a ballot from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. It's too late to vote by mail for the primary, but you can still register and vote tomorrow in person. While in the booth, you'll choose your preferred nominees in all of the races, including the presidential race, congressional candidates, and any referendum that might be in your county. For more information about tomorrow's primary, text the word GUIDE to 314-425-5355. We'll send a link to our voter's guide straight to your phone. The Supreme Court of the United States heard oral arguments from Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey today. Bailey and several other Republican attorneys general argue the federal government overstepped its authority regarding social media. Bailey says the Biden administration violated the First Amendment by censoring content regarding COVID-19 and the 2020 election it deemed misinformation. We will keep you updated as that case progresses. American citizens evacuating a country in the Caribbean. Why gangs now control its capital city. Tensions grow between the U.S. and Israel. What was said when President Biden spoke on the phone with Benjamin Netanyahu for the first time in over a month.